Master Wu Yi's talk about Chinese painting. Before I give my speech, let me make a brief remark. When I accepted your invitation this time, I thought it was a good opportunity to systematically promote the understanding of Chinese painting in the United States. But later, when I wrote several drafts, I found that I could not tolerate myself. That is, when I fully rolled out the speech, I could not hold it. The more I wrote, the wider the scope. Owing to it involves traditional Chinese culture, or Chinese civilization from the early Enlightenment to the present. The topic itself is if too simple, then it could not explain clearly. If too complicated, then it could take a long time, even as long as to draft a book. Many years ago, I used to reading some books about Chinese intellectual history in the second-hand bookstores. Most well-known and old-age professors write these books. They all had wide coverages on the part of Chinese art. This represents that in long time ago, many scholars already studied the origin of Chinese civilization and its thought. However, as an artist, I am not only thinking of something purely theoretical. When looking into stuff or sceneries, I always first use my intuition or directly perceive them through my senses. Then I digest it inwardly. So there is a transformation of images from my heart. I named it as Sinong, means heart's image. About the Sinong in China, there already had discussions at the Neo-Confucianism school of the Song dynasty. Tracing back even earlier to Tang dynasty, people also talked about it. Therefore, Sinong has a very systematic context, which is all recorded. In the past 100 years, because of the transformation or changes in the society of China, many people met directly face-to-face with Western culture, which is never seen in Chinese history. Therefore, the controversy is the largest over Chinese painting in the past 100 years. Since the beginning of the last century, if I only write the issues for these 100 years, it is no way to finish it in a single speech. Do not even mention that I want to talk about the origin of Chinese painting. For the topic of tracing back the origins, I could hardly hold myself but write more. Therefore, I thought I should prepare a speech draft instead of the informal oral method. I would talk as colloquially as possible, so as in a limited scope. Then I can control the time to complete within an hour. I do not like to appear in public and have avoided public activities in the past. This may have related to my personality. So, about the entire systems of Chinese paintings, I have been thinking about them for a long time and then practicing them in my paintings. These practices in different periods showed differently. Many times, I deny myself about my early works after a period, which is how I reached, step by step, to where I am today. So, sometimes, when I look at my own works, I also have a kind of, how should I say, it seems like déjà vu. Sometimes it is like, did I paint this? There is an underlying feeling in that place. Today, my theme of this talk is Chinese painting. From the birth of Chinese civilization, it has had one of the most primitive texts, the Mother of Heaven and Earth, in the Book of Tao Te Ching, authored by Taoist Lao Tzu, is the most primitive text. For Chinese civilization, Lao Tzu proposed a concept of the Mother of Heaven and Earth, or root of heaven and earth. In addition, based on an ancient document of the Pre-Qin dynasty, that there is a term you made 9 dings. A ding is a bronze cooking vessel with 2 loop handles and 3 or 4 legs. Only the emperor can make 9 dings. 9 dings cast through the system of models. You should all know an illusion that the king of Chu plotted to get the 9 dings from the emperor of Zhou. The Zhou emperor then assigned a minister, Wang Sunman, to visit Chu and had a conversation with the king of Chu. The king of Chu asked about the weights and sizes of the 9 dings, implied that he would like to grab the power and replace the emperor. However, I am not paying attention to this illusion, but the model to make the ding. After casting the copper into the model, then form a ding. Therefore, what I focus on is that in thousands of years ago, China already had a thought form of the model. It is just like, for example, how can people feel the grade of heaven and earth? So, he made 9 dings. This is the model representing heaven and earth in the origin of Chinese civilization. It is a paradigm, like a mold and a model. Therefore, I regard that nine dings as one of the models representing heaven and earth and the origin of Chinese civilization. So, nine dings are not simple artifacts. Our history often classified the nine dings as artifacts from the perspective of history and archaeology. But in my feelings, I regard it as a Chinese, as the Enlightenment stage of Chinese civilization has learned how to use a model to cast a ding, turn a macroscopic state of heaven and earth into a paradigm. Then nine dings appeared. Therefore, this model representing heaven and earth is more in line with the thought form in the early stage of Chinese civilization. Lao Tzu called it the mother of heaven and earth, or root of heaven and earth. Mother of heaven and earth appears several times in Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. People can also find from the document of Pre-Qins you made nine dings and cast them into nine dings of mother of heaven and earth. On the topic of tracing the origins, I call it, as I just said, and I am more accustomed to calling it a model or a paradigm of heaven and earth. It is an authority that ordinary people can feel it. This is a Chinese paradigm of the thought form which is full of reverie and belongs to a kind of Chinese memory with this form of thought. In addition, there is the other Chinese ancient document which mentions that Xia dynasty had Lian Shan, Yin dynasty had Hong Fan, and King Wen had Zhou Yi. So, in ancient documents, all mention these three names. But now Yin Shan and Hong Fan are missing. Only Zhou Yi remains. To Lian Shan, I thought of several various shaped entities and creatures in this existing the classic of mountain and sea, Shanghai Jing. May they belong to the part of Lian Shan? Because inside the book of Shanghai Jing mentions that Lian Shan belongs to the Xia dynasty. Yin has Hong Fan, which I interpret as using a model to represent the primeval ages. Last, I do not need to explain Zhou Yi because many people have already studied Zhou Yi now. Chinese painting is a huge cultural system, and it covers a wide range of aspects. It involves changes in Chinese poetry, lyrics, literary rhyme prose, phonology, calligraphy, seals, etc. Today, we will talk about these three topics: tracing the origins, inheriting from teachers, and the direction of the future Chinese painting. These are difficult to talk about. In particular, the unique image thought shows of simplicity in Chinese literacy system. This simplicity is not a theory, but the most important lesson in modern literacy systems.